Call the September 5th, 2017 regular council meeting to order. Flag salute. Councilor Roach, please.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Silent roll call has been taken and a quorum is present.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the August 21st, 2017 special council meeting?
So moved.
Jan, is there a second?
I'll second.
Carol, discussion? All those in favor? None opposed, 6-0. Okay. Petitions, communications, citizens' requests. At this time, is there anyone from the audience that would like to discuss an item that is not on the agenda? If so, please come forward, state your name and address. Okay. Moving on to reports. Council President, nothing. Standing committees, city councilors.
I'll talk
Carol?
about Riverfest.
There we go.
Riverfest is September 29 and 30. All the information will be out this Thursday, so it'll all be around. We've been putting some on Facebook. It's much the same as last year. Big parade, fireworks, and lots of fun in the park, games. But all the information will be out Thursday, so look for it.
Great.
Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Good job.
City Attorney.
Serve me a seat here. You'll
Good e-
see, is this on?
Yes, you're all set.
Later in the in your agenda that we have provided an opinion on 27 Front Street.
Yes, that was in the.
Do you have any questions
That was
about
in the
that at this
packet,
point?
right? Yep.
Do you want me to wait till then?
Yes, that will give them a few minutes to look at it before it comes up.
Okay. As far as 33 Front Street, which we spoke about last time I was here, we're still working on pulling that complaint together, but we do have a hearing date, so when that complaint is filed, we'll be all set to go forward with that.
Okay, so that's still going forward then.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
We have no other report.
Thank you. Special committees. City Manager.
The MPI grant on Main Street, they're going to start grinding it this week. B&B Paving came up and met with us today. They're going to have some downtime just based on the weather. It looks like it's going to rain, so they're just going to move their grinder up here and get that ground. It'll have a somewhat finer finish on that grinding, so it won't be that rough when they're done with it. They plan on having everything finished, worst case scenario, by beginning of the second week of October, as long as we don't get a bunch of rain to impact their paving on everything else that they're doing. But that's what their plan is right now.
Again, how far does that go?
That goes from here up to just about LeBreeze Bakery. Yep. They're also looking, we had a little bit of paving money in there, so when you see some of the kickouts, like in front of the credit union, going into the front of where the Boom House is, which is our parking lot, and there's another kickout like that on Main Street where the parking is, they're going to go in and also grind that, and we'll pave that at the same time.
Good.
Okay. Good.
Grabbed a quick news update that Habitat Humanity put out, and we just got this afternoon, and their release on the two houses that the council put forward for them.
Was that in the
And
Bangor Daily?
It's just coming out to go in the Bangor
Oh,
Daily.
okay.
So they sent this out to us today, late this afternoon. Travis got it. And they got two Old Town families that are going to be a part of that. So I just wanted to put that out here for you folks to read when you get a chance.
Yep.
But that's moving forward.
Nice.
The Penny Road lot that we've been considering selling.
Now, you sent an email out, I think, late last week.
Yeah. The two changes that came back that we asked about was changing the 8 years. They were fine with that. They wanted just a 2-year option.
So that means that's 2 years that they have the option to purchase that land.
Correct.
Okay.
And there was the 2 years, and also there was some concern about who was going to actually be the owner of that. In that contract now, it's written that the manufacturing company has formed an LLC that's directly related to them. So in that contract, it's that company themselves. They can't just get that property from us and flip it to somebody else. It's directly related to them.
Okay, I know you had mentioned that, okay.
So if we do that for 2 years, that ties that property up?
It does, and I mean,
Are they giving us a deposit?
they're gonna put down $5,000.
Is that enough to tie that up for 2 years? Do we have a valuation of the property yet?
No. I mean, typically, in those situations for economic development and looking at towns that we'd be competing with in this region, the sale price is generally pretty cheap. Oftentimes, they give them the land. That's something I can come back and talk to you folks about. They just want to know they have an option to negotiate with us. And according to them, they want to do that sooner than later. That's why they had no problem moving it from 8 years to 2. They have some investors in New York that would like to know that there's an option for property available that close to the university
And the property's been sitting there for
since '05.
Long time.
a long time. I mean, I think it's a good move. I think as things get rolling down there, there's gonna be other opportunities down there. But this is definitely the first one that people have come to talk to us about.
Kind of in conjunction with that, I've been meeting with Everett Deshane, who's working with the group directly that's trying to develop the mill site. There's always been a road from the Penny Road shown on a map that goes to our proposed industrial park that never got exchanged with Red Shield back in '05 or '06 or '07. And so now we're working on getting that exchange done on that property for the power easement for the road exchange.
Okay.
So we'll actually have access to that. It shows it on a map, but the city's never owned that property.
Never owned that property.
Never had an easement or ownership of it, so we're working on getting one or the other.
So you're saying that property's landlocked right now?
No, you can actually continue up the Penny Road past KB Corporation to get to it.
Back down around?
Right. The problem is, up on that end of that lot, there's quite a bit of wetland issues up there. It's not that you can't go through that, but it'd be a lot more difficult to access the property that way.
So is our agreement gonna state that we're gonna take care of that before they do the property?
Do what?
As far as, I guess
We're gonna take care of that easement, that land swap, so that we own the rights to put the road across there?
well, the way that they're planning on accessing it right now is they plan on accessing it off the Penny Road. That's how their map's drawn up. They'll have to deal with the wetland mitigation or whatever else. I'm sure what my hopes are is to go back with this easement to them and show them a lot easier way to get there. But right now, they're willing to accept that property by having to go all the way to the end of the Penny Road. Yeah,
And they're responsible to build the road to it,
Yeah.
and the city's got?
yeah, no,
They are?
Yep.
Okay, I'm fine with it.
Any questions? Bill had sent out the email last week. I just want to make sure everybody got updated before he went ahead. That's all. Thank you, sir. You're all set to go.
good.
Okay.
Yep. And I will be at training for the next several days, but I got my phone and laptop, so if anything happens, feel free to contact me. Might take a minute to get to you, but I'll get back to you.
Why are you looking at me?
I'm looking right at you.
Because you're the one that calls them every day.
Okay, that's it? Thank you. Consent agenda, new business items number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Councilor McLeod, please.
Resolve, the Old Town City Council hereby approves the suggested motions under new business items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 as presented. Number 1, Old Town Council hereby approves insurance of a proclamation and observation in Constitution Week, September 17th through the 23rd. Number 2, Old Town City Council hereby approves renewal application for a malt, vinous, and spirituous liquor license for the Old Town Knights of Columbus on Gilman Falls Avenue. Number 3, excuse me. The Old Town Council hereby abates personal property taxes as follows. HP Enterprise Services LLC, in the amount of $44.30. Number 4, the council approves a renewal application for a liquor license for the special amusement permit for Off the Wagon on 18 Water Street, doing amusement permit for James G. Dubé, doing business as The Wagon at 18 Water Street. Number 5, resolve Old Town City Council hereby approves proposal for Casella to accept bulky waste at the transfer station for spring cleanup. Number 6, Old Town City Council hereby accepts the bid from Reddy and O'Brien Investments, LLC, in the amount of $20,100 as recommended by city staff. Number 7, the council also hereby approves an application from Old Town Riverfest Committee for a major special event permit for the Riverfest Festival on September 29th through the 30th. Number 8.
Oh, just
Number 7. Oh, I missed it?
7, that's perfect.
All right, 8.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Jan, discussion.
Yeah, are we nailing that down now so that we're saying that cleanup is gonna be only at the transfer station, that we're not gonna have some other containers somewhere else?
I don't think John's here tonight,
Yeah,
is he?
John is off for a while. He has a surgery that he's doing right now. So that's what the plan is to take those bulky items to the transfer station.
I know it was discussed whether it was be right here by the fire station or whether it was, I didn't quite get that it was decided it was gonna head up there. It sounded like there was a couple options, either
Yeah, I
here
mean,
or
if
up
we,
there.
If we had to have a couple different areas for that, I don't know if any of you saw it or not, but legislatively right now, as far as getting rid of bulky waste items, that's changing. There's legislation on how and where to do that. And even this year, as that was developing, you know, unlike previous years, the Public Works crew could go out and collect that stuff and take it up to the landfill and get rid of it. And this year, before it could go to Juniper Ridge, we actually had to collect all that stuff, and it was up at the compost site. And there was a pretty big mountain of mattresses that we were hanging on to up there.
So is the fear that if we had it here by the fire station that it wouldn't be monitored or something? Is that what we're afraid of?
You know, it's most communities now have gone to taking it to one spot. If we need to transition over time for a year or two or whatever, I mean, it's up to, you know, it's really up to you folks. If you want to transition that way, we can try to find 2 or 3 different areas to help people get it there in that first year or two.
Right.
Even though we went around and picked that stuff up this year, we still had to go back with Packer trucks for 3 days and pick up material that couldn't be taken.
Yeah.
So part of this will have to be looking at our ordinance and taking a couple sections out of it and enforcing that for folks who don't adhere to.
Right.
I guess that was my next question. Are we gonna send a letter out with the tax bills? And are we gonna put those ordinances in there and say that we're gonna enforce them so that landlords that pile their junk beside the road and count on the city picking it up are gonna get billed for it? And also, could we put some thought to, before you send out the letter, to say, if you can't find anybody to take your couches or mattresses or whatever to the landfill, you could buy a sticker similar to what you do white goods, and the city would pick it up, but basically they'd be paying for the cost for the city crew to go around and clean that stuff up?
Okay, there's 3 questions in there. Did John get you a letter, Travis, or no? Yeah, because I know he's working on a memo on that, so I'll have to check and see if that was there. I mean, and the other side of it is, even when we do that, I'd still want to maybe do that a couple more times and just a bulk mailing to everybody.
Just for reminders.
Just so,
Right.
you know, they get it once, but that's, springtime's a long ways away, so I wouldn't want to just only send that out one time. I'd want to send out
I'd be great
notice.
with a couple more mailings, but I think everybody looks at their tax.
Yeah, yep,
So I have to, yeah.
You know, even the landlords from away get the
Right.
tax bill to pay, and they're gonna look and say, what is this?
Yep.
And they got no excuse for reading it, because if they got their tax bill, they got the letter.
yep.
Are they going to take mattresses without taking them apart?
Again, as we go into this, depends on how you folks want to roll that out. I mean, we've still got till the springtime to kind of, as long as you're okay with this concept, however you want to try to
Work out
adjust
the
that as we
details.
get there closer, we can look at that to try to transition that.
That's what I figured tonight was actually just approving the concept, then we had time to figure out the details. Well, but you had two, you asked 3 questions, what were the other 2?
I can't remember.
You'd asked if they could use a sticker.
The stickers.
Sticker for
Again, I
bulky
mean,
goods.
that's,
You know, I got a couple of emails from citizens saying,
Yes.
We
I
did.
got no truck, I got no car,
Right.
I'm too old to manage this.
Right.
Okay, can you buy a $10 sticker the same as you would for a wash machine? And the city will still pick it up, but that's gonna defray some or all of the cost to the
Right.
rest of the taxpayers.
Exactly.
So that we're all on an equal footing.
Exactly. I think once again, tonight is more of the concept, and then we can work out all the
Except you're gonna
details.
put some of this stuff, I
Yes.
hope, in
Some
the
of it,
Yes,
letter.
in the letter, yes.
Yeah,
Taxpayers.
Yep, absolutely.
because that is a problem for some.
Oh, it
people.
is, it is. We got an email, all of us, and I got 2 phone calls, so I said we'd be talking about it tonight, so. I think it was just, if we can get it, start to head down that road, we'll figure out the rest, but let the citizens know what it's gonna, what it will be.
Yep.
I can't remember his other question. Was there one more?
no, I think you got them
Is that
all,
it?
3 of them.
I think you did too.
Okay, so we got a second discussion. Okay, all those in favor? None opposed, 6-0. Okay. Public hearings and second reading of ordinances. City Council will conduct a public hearing for consideration of proposed amendments to Article 9 of the city charter that would provide the City Council with authority to issue bonds for any public purpose, including economic development, place a limit on that, on the amount of bonds that may be outstanding for the purposes of making grants and loans, and make other non-substantive amendments to clarify some charter provisions. Open the public hearing.
I didn't know if you wanted to go over your memo at this point or no.
Go over the charter or the report or something we have to sign. To complete the process. When we get to the action portion, council approves it, then part of that would be to sign the report, which is really very brief.
Okay. So that's on basically on number 9. When we vote to approve it, then we got to then we have to sign it at that point. Is this the only public hearing on this bill?
This is it. This is getting that to the ability to have that on our November
Right, on the
7th
Okay.
vote for the citizens to vote on.
Okay. Because I do have a couple people that said that they would come and speak in favor of this. They just couldn't make it tonight. So, but we could do that at our next council meeting during my
Sure.
time,
Yeah.
if need be, and do it that way, just so they can express how they feel that we should go forward. And everybody that I've been talking to, they're in support of this. Is a tool for the city to use for economic development. And yes, we do have someone said, well, geez, you guys got the loan program, not the UDAG, but the other one. But that's more for a smaller scale. What we're
Correct.
doing would be for a larger scale, companies that are going to spend tens of millions of dollars that are looking for the city to help them with that. Am I correct on that? That's what we're
Yes,
looking
and,
for.
and again, I can't imagine, in the time that I've been here, Old Town's a pretty conservative community, and, you know, just because the council has the authority to borrow $4 million, I think I know you folks well enough to know you're not just going to go out and spend $4 million. So
Exactly.
there's going to have to be a lot of information shared, and not just with you here, but also with the public, so they understand exactly what's going to happen if you wanted to borrow that amount of money. This just gives you the ability to do that. Doesn't mean you're going to do that.
Right. And my understanding is whether these things happen or not with these couple companies, this is good to change the charter anyways for this,
Yes, it
have
is.
that done, just to have that tool in place.
Yep.
Okay. So you want to wait, or you want to,
The public hearing, people would speak for, against, or neither for or against. And being that I represent the city, I'm happy to summarize what we've done.
Yep.
What we have before us, if you'd like.
if you could do that, that'd be great. Thank you.
Sorry, it wasn't.
That's all right. Take your time.
Let me borrow one from Patty.
Each need one of these? Or the agenda?
Just
The letter?
the order, yeah. Well,
That one or the?
Exhibit A.
I have mine right here if you want it.
There it is.
There it is, all right. Thank you. So my name is Jamie Pitney. I'm with the law firm of Pretty Flaherty at Bellevue and Pacious from Augusta, Maine. And I've been the city's bond counsel, assisting with the city's borrowings for a number of years. And over the past year, with working with the city manager and then with the council president, we've had discussions about the possibility of the city making a loan from proceeds of a general obligation bond for economic development purposes. First, a year ago or more, for possibility of purchasing industrial property, and more recently for making a loan to a private enterprise to assist that company or a company with purchasing the property itself and making use of it. Reviewing the charter with that loan concept in mind, there were several things in the current charter, which was adopted in the 1940s, regarding borrowing by the city that limited it to public facilities, such as buying this building several years ago for City Hall or for financing improvements to the high school. So that's has been the traditional function of government, to buy facilities for itself. But over time, many municipalities become more desirous of making funds available to encourage economic development. And so in order to do that with it for the particular project I believe you've been reviewing, we needed to make some changes to the charter. The borrowing provisions and the bonding provisions are found in Article 9, Sections 7 and 8. And those are the sections that are being proposed for amendment. The current charter prohibits lending the credit of the city to anyone, and obviously a loan to a private enterprise we couldn't accomplish that. So we've added the proposal would add a new Section 7A that would permit this kind of loan, but the city borrowing to relend, city borrowing itself, relending to a private enterprise would be capped at the $4 million limit that's been mentioned here. In Section 8, we added primarily two things: allowing the city to borrow for any public purpose, and that's the same as state law, which has been broader than the city's charter, which had limited again to borrowing just for public facilities. In addition, we've specifically stated that one of those public purposes could be economic development. There have been some other changes to, again, provide some more flexibility, both for public facility borrowing as well as for economic development. So that's a summary of the substantive part of the amendment. And there's also this, if this is approved by the voters at November 7th, it would take effect the next day. I believe you all have a council meeting scheduled to accept the results of the
votes, yeah.
vote. And at that point, we would go forward with it. If it was the council's pleasure after the vote, we would go forward with considering borrowing money, as is contemplated here, and lending some amount of it to
Okay.
the economic development applicant.
Perfect. Any questions? Because at some point, I do want to put this out in the Times, a version, so the citizens can see it. We just got to figure out how to put it out there. Okay?
It's in, it was, the whole, what you're considering was published.
In the Times.
Notice of this hearing tonight was put into the Times.
Right.
But the full document you have before you with all the additions and deletions was
Right.
published in the Bangor Daily News.
Yeah,
a
no,
week
that's
ago.
fine. I just want something coming from Bill and the council, basically telling the citizens or, you
Okay.
know, what this is, that, something like that.
I'd be glad to help with that.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think this letter that Jamie's already prepared pretty much describes
Describes
a
it,
lot
yeah.
of that.
Yep. Beautiful. Okay, anybody else on this? Close the public hearing. Okay, item number 2, the city council will conduct a public hearing on a new application for a victor's license food establishment for Muhammad Quasi. Is that right? Kazi. DBA Subway 255 Main Street. Open the public hearing. Patty, anything on this?
I'm going to let David speak on that.
David?
Dave Russell, code officer. The fire department was there last week and found a few deficiencies with the exit lights, which I was there today to follow up doing my part along with the state inspector. He already has a contractor coming to take care of that. He showed me the invoice. The state has required that he has another hand washing sink. When they first installed the plumbing in the building, they had a hand washing sink up behind the counter. She now wants one. New state rules, they have to have one in the back. We had received a complaint about mold in the ice machine. We checked that today. He was notified of that and he's cleaning it. He's trying to spruce up the building and the business, and my recommendation is that we allow that to move forward. The state's gonna issue him a conditional until he gets that hand washing sink. I'm gonna provide him a list of plumbing contractors tomorrow that he can pick and choose from and have that taken care of.
Okay. So, I mean, on the motion, we have it written on contingent upon compliance by the inspectors, that,
That's correct. That would
Okay.
be both Jen from the state and myself.
okay. Any questions for Dave? Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Okay, close the public hearing. City council will consider approval on a new application for a victuals license food establishment for Muhammad, what was it, Kazi? DBA Subway. Council may.
Resolve, the Old Town City Council hereby approves a new application for a victuals license food establishment for Muhammad Kazi, doing business as Subway, 255 Main Street, contingent upon compliance with the inspectors.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Jan, discussion? All those in favor? Not opposed? Okay, no old business, new business. We're moving on to item number 8. City council will consider authorizing city manager to take all necessary steps to retain tax-acquired property formerly owned by Roger Mitchell, located at 27 Front Street and on Assessors Map 031, Lot 172, in accordance with the policy of disposition of tax-acquired property. Councilor Klitsch.
Resolved, the Old Town City Council hereby authorizes the city manager to take all necessary steps to retain tax-acquired property formerly owned by Roger Mitchell, located at 27 Front Street and on Assessors Map 031, Lot 172, in accordance with Charter 5 of the policy of disposition of tax-acquired property.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Carol, discussion. Dave?
This went to Ms. Foster and Ed Bearer. I had given them all the written notification from the city. John Rulo and I had spoken with Mr. Mitchell about the condition of it after our last meeting when the citizens of French Island came forward. He said, well, I don't even own it, it's the city. That was the first I knew of it. Did my research, yes, indeed. Ms. Foster and Mr. Bearer went through it, looked at the notices, felt that they were fine based on it, but they would feel more comfortable if we did a quitclaim deed with Mr. Mitchell, which he's amicable for. We've got the paperwork started for that, and my recommendation will be, once that is taken care of, at the next meeting, or perhaps the meeting the following month, that we make, or the council decides to tear this building down. I'd like to try and do that in conjunction with 17 Front Street, which was put out to bid twice with no takers. It's
Put out bid twice to tear it down with no takers? Or no, to put out to bid?
to purchase it.
Oh, to purchase it, okay.
And we had no takers. It's in almost the same condition as 27 is, and that would be my recommendation. And I'll let Ms. Foster address any questions you have on their understanding of how we serve the papers.
Any questions on this? Bill, anything?
No, these are just the properties that folks from French Island had complained about, and so we're trying to deal with those now
Yep.
as quickly as possible.
So we approve this, you do a quick claim deed
Have to
ASAP.
get that filed in the registry, and then we can take it, and it's ours to do with what we want.
Okay,
And I think that's a nice, clean way of doing it.
okay.
At this stage, you could have just gone forward, the property's been foreclosed on, but because there's some confusion about who actually owns it, we thought that the best thing to do would be to ask for a quitclaim deed if he was agreeable to that. If he had not been agreeable to that, it could have been a little bit more complicated, but
Okay.
it seems like from your conversations with him, he said,
He's okay with that.
But we have it fairly drawn up. I'll send it off to Redmond and Winchell to look at, and then make a phone call, have him come in and sign it for us.
Okay. Good, great job. Anybody? Nice job, guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All those in favor? None opposed? 6-0. Item number 9, the city council consider placing a proposed 2017 amendment of the city's charter as presented in Exhibit A for a vote at a municipal secret ballot election to be held on November 7th, 2017. Councilor Roach.
Ordered that a public hearing having been advertised and held in accordance with 30-A MRSA, subsection 2104, paragraph 5, the proposed 2017 amendment of the city charter presented before said public hearing and presented in Exhibit A to be placed for vote at a municipal secret ballot election to be held on November 7th, 2017. Ordered that such proposed 2017 amendment to the city's charter presented in Exhibit A and a letter from Pretty Flaherty, the city's bond counsel, regarding legality of the proposed 2017 amendment to the city charter and presented at this meeting be filed with the clerk. Ordered that if the proposed 2017 amendment of the city charter is approved by city voters on November 7th, 2017, such amendments shall take effect on November 8th, 2017. Ordered that the clerk is hereby directed to take any and all actions necessary to prepare for the November 7th, 2017 election.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
The discussion? I will say, when I first read this, I called Patty a little bit nervous because the word secret was on there.
Yes.
So I kind of threw a fit for about 30 minutes till I got emails back from Bill and Patty saying that word is actually in the charter.
Yeah.
That says that.
It's a definition of, you have a town meeting, they go to the town meeting, they vote by a raise of hand. There's others, they vote on a piece of paper. in the city of Old Town, we vote what they call secret ballot, because you're given a ballot, you go into the voting booth and you vote it in
So
private.
no one sees it, right?
Correct.
Okay.
That's the secret.
She talked me off the cliff, basically. Okay. All those in favor? None opposed. 6-0. Last item on the agenda. The City Council consider going into executive session for the purpose of discussing a personnel matter. Councilor May.
Resolved, the Old Town City Council hereby approves going into executive session pursuant to MRSA Title 405, Section 6A, for the purpose of discussing a personnel matter.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
EJ, discussion. All those in favor? None opposed. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. Appreciate it.